Oh Lord, you're beautiful. Your face is all.
Hey guys, welcome to the Midweek Refuel. Glad you're here. If you notice, we've redecorated the front offices here. I actually have a painting on the back wall that was done by Ray. And if you're in church here on Sunday mornings, it's normally up on the right side of the sanctuary, but we moved some things around. So now it's in the office that I have kind of made my own here in the front of the church. So there you go. Little tidbit of information you probably really didn't even need to know, but there you go. Hope you're having a great week. I hope you had a great day off on Labor Day and you got some rest, and we got a short week this week. So maybe you need a little less fuel to top off the tank, but hopefully this will be good. Tonight we're going to cover Matthew 20, verse 29 to 34. So we're going to finish the chapter in Matthew 20. So let's go ahead and turn there. And I'm going to read out of the New American Standard. As they were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him. And two blind men sitting by the road, hearing that Jesus was passing by, cried out, "Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David." The crowd sternly told them to be quiet, but they cried out all the more, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us." And Jesus stopped and called them and said, "What do you want me to do for you?" And they said to him, "Lord, we want our eyes to be opened." And moved with compassion, Jesus touched their eyes and immediately regained their sight, and they followed him. Okay, so I have 4 different questions, actually probably 5 questions that stand out to me from this passage. The one would be, why did they keep crying out, "Son of David"? Why did they? You see it twice in this situation. Once after they're told to be quiet, they shout all the more. Why would they call him Son of David? Why was that significant? Well, some of you probably already know this, but it actually is referring to the structure, the old covenant in which they were a part of. And as part of that covenant, the Messiah was promised. And so it really, to me, what it is saying is they are recognizing his position as the Messiah. And they saw that he could do for them what was impossible for anyone else to do, which is for them to regain their sight. So they were operating out of the structure that they knew and asking Jesus to help them with a very impossible situation in their life. So Jesus was the promised Messiah from the line of the Son of David, and that would be why they were highlighting that. The next question I have is, why would the crowd tell them to be quiet, right? Obviously they have a need. Perhaps they are not being influenced by the situation that we find ourselves in today. If you shouted down a disabled person today, I would imagine that you would lose some social credit. You would lose people around you would look at you with a lot of judgment. But in this time, they treated disabled people poorly, partly because they believed that their situation was as a result of sin. And I cannot stop the phone. I didn't realize we were going to get a phone call. So let's pause here for a second. All right, the phone has stopped ringing. Part 2. So we were talking about why would the crowd be telling them to be quiet? And the reason is they would have believed, and we learned this actually from the story of another blind person. It's in Mark chapter 9, I believe, where the question of the Pharisees is, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he would be born blind? So they had this belief system that you were disabled because you did something wrong. And so that would be why they were shouting them down, because they didn't think that they should be disturbing Jesus in the important work that he was doing. And so therefore they didn't have value. So that would be the answer to that question. Then the next question I have would be, why did Jesus ask them why did he ask them what they wanted him to do for them? That's a weird question. Jesus, it's fairly obvious, right, that they are blind, and that they need, the ask is that they would regain their sight. Fairly obvious question. So why would Jesus ask them that? Well, I wonder if part of it is he's actually wanting them to make clear what they're actually asking him for. That he wants them to acknowledge their situation and the fact that he has a solution for that situation. And I think sometimes we just want the hand of Jesus. Sometimes we just want him to fix our issue, and we're not recognizing that there is a deeper issue behind it. That sometimes the thing that we believe we're dealing with, that we want relief from, is actually not the issue. It's the symptom to the issue. And I believe that in this situation, Jesus wasn't just helping them regain their physical sight, but their spiritual sight as well. And we'll see that at the end of the story. But I think sometimes God asks us questions. He provokes us to wanting to know more, to wanting to pursue a deeper revelation, a deeper connection with him, in part because he wants to reveal what's going on inside of us. And he knows that as we go a little deeper, we actually value the answer more than if it's just given to us. I have a teacher friend who sometimes just doesn't answer. Well, we would have him come out and teach our students for the discipleship school, and he just wouldn't answer people's questions. And I remember thinking, wow, that's rude. They ask you a question. Why don't you honor them with a response? And I realized that part of it is it wasn't that he didn't have the answer. It was that he wanted the student to take the time and go figure out what they thought about it before they could have a dialogue. That he was trying to encourage them not to be lazy, but to pursue the answer for themselves, so that it would have more of an impact on them when they saw the revelation. And then, a lot of times in that situation, he would have a dialogue with them because he saw that they had taken the time to search it out. And then the last question I have is, in there it says that Jesus was moved with compassion after they asked that their eyes would be opened. And you see that a lot. You see that a lot in the Gospels, where Jesus was moved with compassion towards people. You see it in the feeding of the 5,000. And you see it in other places, and that the compassion itself almost becomes the motivation for the healing. And I think there's a lot to that. I think that I'm realizing that God is really, in this day, more than ever, teaching us about what love looks like, and valuing people, valuing our interaction with people, valuing what we invest in people. Too often we are trying to go somewhere, or we're trying to lead people somewhere. Ministry is taking you from point A to point B. You're growing. The fruit of your growth is what makes me feel good about my discipleship in your life. And of course, those things are good, and we want people to grow. And we want something to be able to measure that with. But our compassion for people and our desire to invest in them is crucially important. We're going through a book with our men called Mentoring Like Jesus. And the more we go through this book, it's not that the book is the greatest thing I've ever read, but the heart behind it, that we're actually investing in other people, not just our successes, because I think I've learned more from my failures than my successes in a lot of cases, and we're just there saying, I want to invest in you, what I've learned through these situations. And it's really that compassion that leads me to want to do that people are in places where they feel stuck, they feel like they can't break through. And for many of us, we have experience, whether it's experience in utter failure, or making mistakes, whether it be with our kids or just in business or life or whatever it is. We have an opportunity to invest in others the benefit of our experience. And that requires compassion on their situation, where it's too easy to be judgmental. It's too easy to just say, hey, figure it out. You have enough information. You have the Bible. You have teaching. Go figure it out. But when we can walk with somebody, I think that's the way God designed us, is really to be interconnected. We're dependent upon Him. For life, for resource, for righteousness, for peace and joy. But at the end of the day, we get to pour that out into other people. And it is that creates the legacy that I believe that we're looking for. We could be a church that has great ministry, great conferences, and whatever ministries are successful. But you can do that for years and years and not build the viability, I would say, of the connection that we have with people. That's really the legacy that you have, is that you're investing in other people and their lives are changing. And that's a really powerful, amazing thing. So lots to chew on. Short scripture there, just 3 or 4 verses. But I think what we see there is that because we have encountered this amazing Messiah who has changed our lives, we get to be moved with compassion. And the end result there was that these 2 blind men began to follow Jesus. And I believe it wasn't just because he had healed their sight, but because he had healed them spiritually as well. And so let's take that inner healing spiritually that we have received from relationship with Jesus, and let's invest that in other people wherever we are today. Just be kind. Give them a prophetic word in the way of encouragement. If you're at the restaurant, tell your waitress how great she's doing. Even if she isn't doing a great job, encourage her. In whatever sphere that we have a place to influence people, let's be the most positive, loving force that they are going to encounter today. And so that's my midweek refuel for you guys. Keep checking ShilohFortuna.com. I'm actually going to be updating a couple of videos today, and just encourage you to go check that out. We're trying to make that a resource for everybody. A lot of the things that we upload to there are automatically uploaded into the app that we have for the church. And if you're interested in the app, let me know. You can message me, and I'll walk you through how to get set up with that. Great resource there. So ShilohFortuna.com, go check that out. And hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Your face is all I see.